Chapter 26. Beihai City Forum, Free World. In the evening, the forum gradually became more and more lively. Especially those single dogs in the university, who didn't play games or go to the library, often liked to mingle in the various sections of the forum, wearing different sock puppets to point out the situation. Then, because of the question of whether to put sugar or soy sauce in tofu pudding, they would pick up a brick and smash each other's heads. The world of the forum was big, but the mouth was the most important. Tonight at Hohai Bar, I found a handsome guy and a very good song. This post in the Free World section was pinned to the top by the moderator and was marked with a recommendation badge. It inevitably attracted the attention of a large number of forum members, and the number of clicks and replies skyrocketed. Damn, the moderator also sells his ass to help people hype? Read the post carefully, don't swear, the person is really handsome, the song is also a good song, don't drag everything into hype. I support the views of the person above, it's a pity it's too short. Do you know what this song is called? I can't find the full version on the internet, please download it. Don't ask, it should be an original song, it's very good. It's so good, it's played really well. It's very ordinary, old-fashioned style, it might have been popular in the past, but now, hee hee your head, if you have the ability, write one too, sour. That's right, I also think this song is very good, it's too short. According to this Wolf's analysis, this video should have been taken in Hohai Bar, identification complete. Which bar in Hohai? I want to go see. The old driver in front, take me with you. Regarding this recommendation post pinned by the moderator, the comments in the forum clearly showed a trend of two levels. Some people said it was very good, expressed that they listened to it several times, but regretted that it was only a paragraph and not a complete one. But there were also people who thought it was nothing special, a very ordinary song, and even suspected that it was a premeditated hype. Someone disdainfully expressed that he had seen too many such hype methods, first deliberately leaking something, arousing everyone's interest, and then gradually releasing the whole content, just like fishing, people with sufficient intelligence would not fall for it. His view received the approval of many people. The people who frequented the North Sea City Forum were all university students, and they were usually very enthusiastic, flamboyant, and extremely arrogant. They believed that the entire world belonged to them, and they had a contemptuous attitude toward authority. Some people liked to do things the opposite. If others said it was good, they would oppose it. Otherwise, they would not be able to show off their pretentiousness. These people were often referred to as vipers in the forum. They were venomous snakes that liked to spit venom and would not let go once they bit something. This person, whose ID was Horizon Passerby, was obviously an authentic viper. He was quite famous in the Free World section and had a few fans. Unfortunately, not long after Horizon Passerby's reply was posted, it was seen by Xiaomi, who had just gone online. Little Me was the mini baby who had posted the thread. She wasn't feeling well at night, so she didn't go shopping with her roommates. She was bored lying in bed, so she turned on her laptop and surfed the internet. In the end, the moment Xiaomi entered the Beihai City Forum, she was shocked by the large number of system notifications. Only then did she realize that her thread from last night had been recommended by the moderator, and it was pinned at the top of the Free World section. There were 30,000 plus views and 1,000 plus replies. Even if it was recommended and pinned at the top, this kind of popularity was already very shocking. Xiaomi was both surprised and happy. She happily browsed through the replies of others until she saw Horizon Passerby's reply. Xiaomi's lungs were about to explode from anger. She didn't care if others said it was ordinary, but there were too many jealous fellows in the forum. She didn't care if others asked if it was a publicity stunt. How could a person not be stabbed in the streets? Xiaomi was also a small street in the forum. However, Horizon Passerby's post was too crafty. He used an expert's analysis to spit venom, and treated Mini Baby as a professional publicity stunt. His sarcastic remarks were very clear, and it even received the approval of many people. How could Xiaomi tolerate this? Even though Xiaomi usually behaved like an obedient girl, she wasn't the kind of girl who would silently endure grievances. She immediately wrote a new thread in Free World and posted it. Naming Horizon passerby, "I'm not a professional publicity stunt. Do you dare to reveal your identity?" The long title, the fiery mood, and the naming battle instantly attracted a lot of attention. In this thread, Xiaomi briefly introduced the origin of the video in the pinned post, answered a few questions that everyone was concerned about, and attached a meal card with a modified photo and serial number. She was meticulous and even added a note with her forum ID beside the meal card to prove her identity. At the end of the thread, Xiaomi questioned Horizon passerby, "I guarantee that I'm not a professional publicity stunt. Do you dare to prove your identity? If you don't dare, then please shut your stinky mouth." Her thread had only been posted for half a minute, and there were already over 100 replies. Wow, it's a junior from Beijing Normal University. Horizon passerby is just a slacker. Junior, don't be angry. Anger is bad for your body. I've long found that fellow an eyesore. Junior, you scolded him well. Girl, please take a photo. She should be a beauty. Even with such a thick mosaic, you can still tell that she's a beauty. This little brother is really impressed. I concede defeat. Stupid. Take off your glasses and take a look. Support Junior and trample Horizon passerby, this venomous spammer. You who sat next to me? The title of the song is not bad. Requesting for the full version. I don't think there's a full version. The replies were completely one-sided. Although Xiaomi had changed the photo and serial number on the meal card, the logo of Beijing Normal University was still clearly visible, strongly proving her identity. Beijing Normal University was famous for having many girls and beauties. The girls of Beijing Normal University naturally had a higher authority in the Beihai City Forum. Crushing a single dog like Horizon passerby was a piece of cake for them. The moderator of Free World, Wang Yu, had tacitly pinned Xiaomi's post to the top. Because he had heard a good song that moved him, he recommended Xiaomi's video. Towards Horizon passerby, this kind of unreasonable and venomous spammer, he naturally felt disgusted. However, due to his position as a moderator, he could not personally go down and spar with the other party. Now that the main character had stood out, regardless of whether she was a junior from Beijing Normal University or not, Wang Yu strongly supported her battle. After the post was pinned, the number of replies skyrocketed. It was equivalent to hanging Horizon passerby up and whipping him. Horizon passerby, who had always been famous in the forum for his venomous snake and fighting strength, did not show his face no matter what. Horizon passerby was not a simple-minded fool. He clearly knew who he could step on and who he could not provoke. It was easy for him to spit on Mini Baby, but the consequences of a momentary gratification were very serious. It must be known that in Beihai City Forum, a large number of single dogs had gathered. These people were all beasts that could not even be restrained by a rope upon seeing a junior, especially a beautiful junior. How could they let go of the opportunity to curry favor with a girl? They would track down Horizon passerby's IP and find out his name, age, dormitory address. Just thinking about it was terrifying. If Horizon passerby did not want to die an ugly death, he could only be a coward. He could not become the enemy of the large number of single people. He himself was a single dog, and the same kind understood the same kind. After Horizon passerby pretended to be a dead dog, the large number of people lost their motivation to spit. They changed their questions back to the original video and asked for more details. Regardless of whether they really liked the song or not, it was a good thing to be able to chat with a junior from Beijing Normal University. How could one resolve their worries in the lonely night? They could only chat on the forum. Xiaomi, who had completely defeated the venomous spammers, patiently answered their questions. Other than telling them that the song was called You Who Sat Next to Me, she also revealed the location where she listened to the song, as well as her feelings and likes towards the song. Inadvertently, You Who Sat Next to Me, in the most suitable environment for it, quietly fermented and sprouted green sprouts. Chapter 27. Whale TV, Lu Fei Live Broadcast Room. Lu Chen's debut on Whale TV has been 2 hours since the broadcast. He played and sang a total of 9 songs, including his own original songs, You Who Sat Next to Me, and Cinderella. At 8:30, the online popularity reached 15,000 plus. At 9 o'clock, the online popularity reached 20,000 plus. At 9:30, it reached 30,000 plus. Just after 10 o'clock, the online popularity reached 49742 and was about to break through the 50,000 mark. And the number of Fish fans, which was 500 plus at the beginning of the broadcast, has now jumped to 45,000 plus, a full 90 times increase. Such data is undoubtedly terrible, especially for a new anchor who was not famous. It is simply an incredible miracle, because Lu Chen's data is real, without the slightest bit of falsification. His total reward exceeded 10T, of which Li Bai contributed 5 aircraft carriers. This Chief of Staff Lu Jiejun used the method of gifting super props to bring a lot of popularity to Lu Chen. Otherwise, just relying on the newcomer recommendation on the home page would not have such a good effect. But pulling in the audience is one thing, whether or not he can keep the popularity is another. The most powerful thing about Lu Chen is that the conversion ratio between popularity and the number of followers is very high. At least 80% of the audience who came to the live broadcast room chose to follow and became his live broadcast fans. Now Lu Chen still does not understand the power of his data, but the screen full of barrage and the crazy notifications of fish balls still made him feel very happy and satisfied. Thank you for the fish balls. There are too many people, I just want to express my thanks, Lu Chen said to the microphone. Today is my first live broadcast on Whale TV. I didn't expect that so many friends would like to listen to me sing. I really appreciate everyone's support and love. A new wave of fish balls appeared on the screen. Although they are mainly 100 yuan rewards, it can still add up. Lu Feida, come on, we support you. The anchor is mighty. The people of Jiangnan send their congratulations to the anchor for the success of the premiere. The people of Xiangbei send their congratulations. The people of Xingjing send their congratulations. The people of Chaoshan send their congratulations. The people of Treasure Island send their congratulations. Damn, there are actually people from Taiwan watching Lu Fei Da's live broadcast. It's fate, it's fate. Hee, I'm from Xinjiang. I'm also congratulating you. Huanya is passing by, classmate Call Me Li Bai grunted a couple of times. Without further ado, he directly gifted him an aircraft carrier. The total amount of donations in Lu Fei's live stream had reached 11T. Lu Chen signed a formal contract with Whale TV. He can get 65% of the props after tax, which is 15% higher than the 50% before signing the contract. Don't underestimate the 15% increase. You should know that the personal income tax that anchors need to pay is fixed at 20%. Therefore, Whale TV can only take 15%. Although the platform has other benefits, the majority of the income still belongs to the anchors. If Lu Chen needs the 11T props reward, he can immediately withdraw more than 7,000 yuan. Moreover, this is only the income from his 2 hours of live broadcast. He finally understood why online live broadcasts are so popular nowadays. Popular anchors can easily get a signing fee of millions or tens of millions, and there are so many people rushing to throw themselves into it. This cake is too big. There was a reason why StarLive was so awesome. Lu Chen put down the guitar in his arms and reached for the mineral water bottle on the table. He unscrewed the cap and drank 2 mouthfuls to moisten his throat. He also took the opportunity to rest for a while. Performing live for a long time made him a little tired, but his spirit was still incomparably high. If he can have this kind of income regularly, then paying off his family's debts in the future won't be a big problem. So what if he works a little harder? Thank you, Li Bai, for the aircraft carrier. Lu Chen put down the mineral water bottle and picked up the guitar again. He showed a heartfelt smile to the high-definition camera. The next song, The Stubborn Biological Clock, made Lu Chen wake up on time in the early morning. The basement room where the sunlight cannot shine was incomparably dark. It was impossible to tell whether it was day or night. He opened his eyes but couldn't see anything. Following his memory, he turned on the small bedside lamp. Pa! The orange light instantly shone on Lu Chen's face, making him squint his eyes and frown. He reached out and rubbed his temples. He still felt dizzy and the hangover had not completely disappeared. Lu Chen did not immediately get up. He lay on the bed and opened his eyes to look at the gray cement board above his head. It seems like he is still in a dream. Last night, Lu Chen's debut on Whale TV was broadcast for a total of 3 hours. By the end of the broadcast, the number of followers in Lu Fei's live broadcast successfully broke the 50,000 mark. The highest online popularity was 60,000 plus. Although compared to the millions of followers and millions of online popularity of Whale TV's most popular anchor, Lu Chen is still far away. But as a new anchor, Lu Chen has already succeeded to the point where he could not be more successful. One song, You Who Sat Next to Me, and one song, Cinderella, made his reputation as a singer on Whale TV start. He also received a considerable amount of props as a reward. The total reward of 12T allowed Lu Chen to beat 90% of his peers on Whale TV. And to accomplish this, he only used the time of one live broadcast. Gold will always shine. Even in the face of a temporary setback and failure, in the end, it cannot be buried. Lu Chen suddenly turned over and reached under the pillow for his cell phone. He couldn't wait to open the message and read the latest message again. This message was a push notification from the bank, informing Lu Chen that his account received 7,800 yuan. This was the share of the reward that Lu Chen withdrew from the Whale TV account after the end of the live broadcast last night. 65% of the 12T fish balls was 7,800 yuan. In the past, it was equivalent to Lu Chen's hard-earned income for a month. Therefore, he still couldn't believe that he could easily earn a month's salary in the past. He was a little worried that this was just a dream. When he woke up, there would be nothing left. Fortunately, it was not a dream. Lu Chen couldn't help but hold the phone and wave it excitedly. However, his dizzy brain hadn't fully adapted to the new emotions. The sudden pain made him groan. Last night's live broadcast had just ended. Li Feiyu from next door ran over and shouted that he wanted Lu Chen to treat him to a meal to celebrate his Whale TV winning a good start. How could Lu Chen object? So he ran to a nearby restaurant with Li Feiyu and drank a box of beer. This guy. Lu Chen smiled bitterly and shook his head. He got out of bed, put on his clothes, and ran to the bathroom. After washing up, he left home to exercise. When he returned to the house, it was already 9 in the morning. Lu Chen changed into a wet sweatshirt and started another busy day of work. He ordered takeout at noon and then went to work in the afternoon. He went out at 4 in the afternoon and printed the contract with a USB. After signing it, he sent it directly to Deep Sea City. At 5, he ate a sumptuous buffet to reward himself. At 6:30, he left for the bar. At 7:10 in the evening, Lu Chen arrived at Forget Grass Bar early. The bar usually opened around 5. Since it wasn't a weekend, there weren't many customers inside. It was very deserted. Not even a waiter could be seen. The bartender, David, was making cocktails behind the bar. When he saw Lu Chen push open the door, he immediately waved his hand and said, "Lu, come and taste the cocktail I just made. I think you will love it." Lu Chen walked over and said with a smile, "I think I will only fall in love with beautiful women." It was still early, so he sat down in front of the bar. The sparkling and translucent goblets were filled with blood-red wine that glistened under the light of the bar counter. David beamed with joy and said, "I named it Burning." Burning? Lu Chen looked at the cocktail David handed over with a suspicious gaze and said, "I feel like it's no different from a Bloody Mary. It's just that the color is a bit brighter." David immediately showed an insulted expression. Unfortunately, his expression was a bit fake. At this moment, a slender hand suddenly reached out from beside Lu Chen and took the glass of Burning. Chapter 28. It was a beautiful hand, slender yet smooth. The skin was as white as jade and flawless. The 5 fingers were as slender as spring onions, and the nails were trimmed neatly. There was no nail polish on the surface of the nails, and it was suffused with a healthy light pink color. There was no doubt that this was a woman's hand. She gracefully and skillfully took the goblet, as if this goblet of burning was specially made for her, rather than robbing Lu Chen. Lu Chen couldn't help but turn his head and saw a face that left a deep impression on him. Su Qingmei, the director of Light Rain Media. At night, this director Su changed into a casual female outfit. She looked a lot more dignified and didn't have that kind of seductive charm. Lu Chen politely said, "Hello, Director Su." There was a bit of alienation in the politeness. Lu Chen didn't think that the woman he had once rejected would appear here again just to snatch a cocktail. He instinctively felt vigilant. "Hello, Mr. Lu Chen," Su Qingmei faintly replied. She brought the cocktail to her lips and took a small sip. Then, she commented, "There's too much juice and it diluted the alcohol. The taste is more sweet than mellow. Burning doesn't live up to its name." David exaggeratedly opened his mouth and said, "Miss Su, the alcohol content of burning is already very high. But it's still not high enough, right?" Su Qingmei put the wine glass back on the bar and said to Lu Chen, "Do you want to try?" On the glass, there was still a light lip mark that belonged to her. Was this a provocation? Lu Chen smiled and said, "Thank you, but no need. Alcohol isn't good for the throat, and I'm a singer." Last night, he also drank a lot of beer. Of course, for people who like to drink, beer really wasn't considered alcohol. Nodding at the other party, Lu Chen got up and left the bar. Su Qingmei felt that her attack was like hitting cotton, empty and powerless. She wanted to explode, but couldn't find any reason. She could only humph in embarrassment. David shrugged his shoulders and pretended that he didn't know anything. He continued to mix his cocktail. As a smart bartender, he didn't want to get involved in a battle between a man and a woman. Carrying his guitar, Lu Chen went backstage. There weren't many people in the big room. Only Wang Xiaoshui was there. He was listening to music with his headphones on. He didn't notice Lu Chen's appearance. Lu Chen sat down in his seat, opened the guitar case, took out the guitar, and retuned it. Then he prepared the repertoire for the evening performance. The 2 original songs, You Who Sat Next to Me, and Cinderella, are undoubtedly fixed programs. As for the other songs, he wants to change to 2 soothing and affectionate love songs, or add a light rock song that is not intense. Many of the customers in Hohai bars were very picky. In the past, Lu Chen had no problem fooling those customers who didn't know the ropes, but now he had a higher goal. Even if he was singing on the stage of a bar, he still had to have style and quality. Before he achieved success, Lu Chen had to continue his career as a bar singer. But if he wanted to do it, he had to do it to the best of his ability. He couldn't do it half-heartedly. Time passed quickly. In the blink of an eye, it was almost 8:00 in the evening. There were more and more customers in the bar. Li Hong and Yi Zhenyang came. The former was more polite to Lu Chen and even took the initiative to greet him. However, the latter still couldn't put down his pride and had a lukewarm attitude. Lu Chen didn't care. In the past, he might have envied Yi Zhenyang, but now he didn't need to be envious of anyone, no matter what level the singer was. Just after 8:00, Sister Na also appeared in the backstage room. As usual, she warmly greeted everyone, then pulled Lu Chen to the side and said, "Tonight, a few friends of the boss will be coming over. I have arranged for you to go on stage at 9:00. Perform well, it's a good opportunity." "I got it. Thank you, Sister Na." "Oh yeah," Lu Chen nodded his head and took out something that he had already prepared. "This is for you." "What is it?" Sister Na curiously took it and smiled. "It can't be a love letter, right? Your Sister Na is already too old. If I could be 20 years younger, then I would take the initiative to chase after you." Haha. What Lu Chen gave her was a folded A4 printed paper. "A song. I hope Sister Na will like it. You really wrote a song for me?" Sister Na opened the paper and looked at the laser-printed music score. She said in surprise, "Thank you." 2 days ago, she joked with Lu Chen that she wanted Lu Chen to write a song for her. After she said it, she didn't keep it in mind. Therefore, she didn't expect that Lu Chen would really write a song for her. Her voice was very loud. Li Hong, Yi Zhenyang and the others who were backstage heard it and couldn't help but look at each other. Lu Chen wrote a song for Sister Na. Is this for real? Yi Zhenyang curled his lips in disdain. He didn't think much of it. He admitted that the 2 original songs by Lu Chen were good, but this kind of nostalgic folk song style wasn't suitable for Sister Na. Moreover, it wasn't easy to write a good song. He reckoned that it was some kind of claptrap to please the public. In addition to being touched, Sister Na didn't have much expectation for this song that Lu Chen wrote for her. Nowadays, it wasn't easy to write original songs. A good song was really hard to come by. However, when she read the music score and softly sang, her expression quickly changed. Although Sister Na wasn't a star singer, nor was she a professional, she had been in this industry for 20 years. She had sung too many songs and her experience could be said to be incomparably rich. Whether a song was good or not, she could tell with one look, even if it was a brand new original work. Halfway through the song, Sister Na couldn't continue. It wasn't because her level wasn't good or the songwriting was too bad. This song, she used both her hands to hold the thin printed paper, like a devout believer holding the Bible. It was as if it weighed 1,000 pounds. She asked with an unbelievable tone and trembling voice, "Is this really for me?" She didn't believe it. She didn't dare to believe it. Lu Chen nodded and said with certainty, "It's for you." Sister Na's eyes were instantly filled with sparkling tears. She was born in a poor family. In order to live and because of her passion, she embarked on the path of music at a very early age. However, after more than 20 years of career, she didn't become famous. Until now, she was still singing in bars. Many people couldn't become famous because their talent wasn't good enough. No matter how hard they tried, they couldn't stand out. But Sister Na was different. She had a very high talent in singing. Her wide range and unique voice allowed her to easily handle many difficult songs. She was a real singer with real strength. Chen Jinhao once said in private that the reason why Sister Na didn't become famous after more than 20 years, other than her appearance, was because she didn't meet a good song that belonged to her and a real talent scout who understood music. Talent scouts were common, but good songs were hard to find. As for Sister Na herself, she longed for a good song that belonged to her. It was really too long. It was so long that she had already given up and no longer longed for it. But fate was so wonderful. Suddenly, a really good song appeared in front of her and was placed in her hands. It was owned by her. This song not only had a brilliant melody, but the lyrics also hit her heart. It was as if it was specially made for her. It made her unable to suppress her inner emotions and tears instantly flowed. "Thank you, thank you." Sister Na suddenly opened her arms and hugged Lu Chen tightly. Tears flowed down her cheeks. "Thank you." Lu Chen was stunned at first. He immediately smiled and patted her back. "You're welcome." He took out this song to give to Sister Na because he was grateful for the help and care the latter had given him. If it wasn't for Sister Na's care, he wouldn't have been able to sing on the stage of Forget Grass Bar until now. One must know how to be grateful. Lu Chen was a proud person. When he was down and out, he could only take care of himself. When he had the ability, he was willing to repay those who deserved it. A good song was his repayment to Sister Na. Li Hong, Yi Zhenyang and Wang Xiaoshui were all stunned. They saw Lu Chen give the song he wrote to Sister Na. Sister Na sang the song but her voice was too soft so no one could hear it clearly. Then, Sister Na burst into tears and hugged Lu Chen to thank him. What was going on? The three of them had never seen Sister Na lose control like this. Chapter 29. Huh? What's wrong with you guys? At this time, the backstage door was pushed open and Qin Jinhao strode in. Seeing the situation in the room, the boss of Forget Grass Bar was very surprised. He didn't understand what happened and didn't know why Sister Na was hugging Lu Chen and crying. "Boss." Sister Na let go of Lu Chen. Her face was crying and smiling at the same time. She walked over to Qin Jinhao and said, "Xiao Lu wrote a song for me. What do you think about it?" Qin Jinhao took the paper from Sister Na in surprise and looked at the printed music score seriously. He looked at it for a full 5 minutes. His expression changed from solemn, moved, praising, and lamenting. After looking at it, Qin Jinhao was silent. "Boss, what do you think?" Sister Na asked anxiously. She was like a primary school student waiting for the teacher to question her, not a veteran who had been in the singing circle for more than 20 years and was eager for praise but afraid of criticism. "Good song." Qin Jinhao replied in a deep voice, "It's a really good song. I just can't believe that this song was written by Xiao Lu. It's too suitable for you." Qin Jinhao was originally in the singing circle. In terms of musical attainment, he was better than Sister Na. Therefore, he could read the meaning of this song from a higher level. Therefore, it was really hard for him to believe that this song was written by Lu Chen. Sister Na wiped the tears on her face and said with a smile, "Yes, I just tried it and cried." Among the people present, including Qin Jinhao, no one was older than her, but Sister Na didn't feel embarrassed at all. Her heart was only excited and touched. This song must be done well. Qin Jinhao didn't continue to dwell on Lu Chen's problem. He shook the music score in his hand and said, "It's enough to be the title song of an album. As long as it's done well, it has the potential to be a hit." Album? Title song? Li Hong, Yi Zhenyang, and Wang Xiaoshui were all dumbstruck. They suspected that they had heard wrongly. They now knew that the reason why Sister Na was so excited was because Lu Chen wrote a good song for her. But how good the song was, Qin Jinhao gave the answer on the spot. Any singer, unless they have lost the slightest initiative, will regard making an album as one of the most important goals in life, even if there is not much money to make from making an album. An album, a record, represents a singer's qualifications, identity, and style. Sister Na smiled bitterly, "I don't dare to think about an album. I'll be satisfied if I can release a single. I have no regrets." Nowadays, if singers wanted to release an album, most of them had to make a loss. Except for those popular singers and idols, ordinary singers really didn't dare to have such extravagant hopes. In comparison, it was much easier to release a single, and it was also very popular in the industry. Qin Jinhao did not object. "A single is fine too. If you need any help, just let me know. I have some connections that I can use." Sister Na was grateful. "Thank you, boss." Qin Jinhao had always admired her and took good care of her. Moreover, Qin Jinhao had a wide network. With his help, it was not a problem to release a single. Qin Jinhao smiled. "You should be thanking Xiao Lu. His song is really perfect." Sister Na nodded. "That's for sure." She thought for a moment, took out her phone, and quickly operated on the screen. After a while, Lu Chen's pocket rang with the sound of his mobile phone receiving a text message. Lu Chen was stunned and quickly took out his phone. In the end, he found out that it was a message from Yi Fubao, reminding him that there was a change in his account. Someone had just transferred 30,000 yuan to his account. Needless to say, this 30,000 yuan was 100% given by Sister Na. Yi Fubao's transfer was very convenient. As long as you know the other party's phone number, you can transfer the money. Lu Chen was surprised. "Sister Na, 30,000 yuan is too much." He gave this song to Sister Na to repay her for taking care of him. It was also because this song was really suitable for her. As for the cost of writing a song, Lu Chen did not think about it. Sister Na's thoughts were completely different. "Xiao Lu, the 30,000 yuan I gave you for this song is too little. Adding another zero is completely worth it. However, I don't have that much money right now. I'll pay you back in the future." She was very clear about the true value of a good song. Since the rise of pop music in the 80s and 90s, many singers relied on a classic to become popular. They relied on their previous works to earn a lot of money. Asking for a few 100,000 yuan for such a song was considered small. Of course, paying for a song was not calculated in this way. Whether a song could become popular or not, there were many other factors. Especially in the current age of the internet, becoming famous often required a lot of hype and people behind the scenes. Even so, Sister Na still felt that giving 30,000 yuan was big unfair to Lu Chen. Lu Chen could not help but scratch his head and said, "Sister Na, you make me so embarrassed." Pretentious. Yi Zhenyang and the others scolded in their hearts. At the same time, they were extremely envious and jealous of Lu Chen. Writing a song already cost 30,000 yuan. If he wrote 8 to 10 songs, wouldn't he be able to sell it for hundreds of thousands? When did Lu Chen become so capable? Not only did he write his own songs, he could also write songs for others. Among the three, Li Hong's feelings were the most complicated. She was also envious of Lu Chen. She was even more envious of Sister Na for buying a good song. She hated herself for not having such luck. Li Hong also wanted to buy a song from Lu Chen. However, 30,000 yuan was really too high. It was enough to buy a song from a famous singer. Moreover, she really could not afford it and was reluctant to part with it. The income of a bar singer was not bad. However, the cost of living in Beijing was too high. Rent, living expenses, daily expenses, clothes, makeup, beauty. After a year, there was not much savings left. Therefore, she could only watch and be secretly envious. Actually, Li Hong was really thinking too much. Even if she could take out 30,000 yuan, Lu Chen would not sell a song to her. The two of them did not have such a relationship. "Okay, everyone get ready to perform." Chen Jinhao clapped his hands and said, "Xiao Lu, come here. I have something to tell you." Therefore, Lu Chen followed him and the two of them chatted privately in the corner of the room. Chen Jinhao made a long story short. Just now, the boss of Blue Lotus Bar, Chang Wei, came over. There were also a few people in the circle. They might invite you to participate in this Saturday's music night. Lu Chen was surprised. Invite me? Blue Lotus Bar was the largest and most powerful bar in Hohai. It opened very early. The boss, Chang Wei, was very famous in the circle. He was a very charismatic person. Lu Chen had been to Blue Lotus Bar before. The parking lot there was much bigger than Forget Worries Bar. It was often used to hold open-air music nights and often attracted thousands of guests or music fans. Blue Lotus Bar had a tradition of inviting singers from the same industry. Of course, the people they invited were all very capable. If they didn't have a bit of ability, they would be booed off the stage. The invited singers were also very willing to participate. Other than getting paid, the key was that there would be a lot of people from entertainment companies coming to watch. Maybe they would be chosen and sign a contract, walking on the road to fame. Of course, Lu Chen knew about Blue Lotus Bar, but he didn't think that Chang Wei would invite him. Chen Jinhao said, "That's right, but it also depends on your performance. Last night, you had something to do and couldn't come. Tonight, you can't make me lose face." Although it was a joking tone, one could still see Chen Jinhao's serious attitude. Lu Chen nodded his head. His heart suddenly moved. "Boss, does this matter have something to do with Director Su?" Currently, he was only a small singer in a bar. Even if he created 2 good songs, Chang Wei didn't have a reason to pay so much attention to him. There must be other reasons. Lu Chen thought of Su Qingmei whom he had just met at the bar counter, so he blurted out. Cough cough. Chen Jinhao coughed twice and said, "This time's Blue Lotus Bar is sponsored by Light Rain Media. Light Rain Media's boss has a good relationship with Chang Wei, so it was like this." Lu Chen suddenly understood. He didn't understand why Su Qingmei wouldn't let go of him and wouldn't give up her evil intentions. Chen Jinhao patted his shoulder and said, "You don't need to think too much. Just focus on performing well. This is also a very good opportunity. As for other things, as long as you stick to your own ideas, no one can force you. A smile appeared on Lu Chen's face. I understand. Thank you, boss. The current him really didn't need to care too much. Chapter 30. Perhaps he's waiting for you to arrive. Perhaps he's waiting for you to arrive. Perhaps he's waiting for you to arrive. The repetitive ending gradually disappeared along with the sound of the guitar. The song, Cinderella, was played and sung. The nearly full bar was silent for a moment. Then, applause rang out from every seat. Although it wasn't enough to flip the roof over, it was lasting and enthusiastic. Performing this lyrical song once again, Lu Chen's fingering and singing skills were already impeccable. The real improvement was in the feelings integrated into the song. It was more real and deeper, resonating with everyone. He was fully deserving of the praise and applause. What do you guys think? There were 6 people sitting in the reserved VIP area of the Forget Grass Bar. Qin Jinhao was one of them. He smiled and asked, Boss Chang, does my little buddy still enter your discerning eyes? Although his tone was very humble, no matter how one listened to it, it sounded like he was showing off. Of course, Qin Jinhao wasn't a shallow person. The person he was joking with was a middle-aged man in his 40s. Chang Wei, the owner of Blue Lotus Bar. Chang Wei looked very thin, but it wasn't the kind of thin that could be blown away by a gust of wind. Instead, he was very capable. He had a buzz cut, and his eyes were bright and full of expression. His dressing was very tasteful. Aside from a small red sandalwood bracelet hanging on his left wrist, he didn't have any other jewelry. In the circle of Hohai, Chang Wei was undoubtedly at the top. His network was deep, and he had connections from all walks of life. In the past 10 years, he had managed Blue Lotus Bar so well that it became number 1 in the industry. What people admired the most was Chang Wei's foresight. Back then, when the land in Hohai was already very valuable, he didn't hesitate to spend a large sum of money to buy the land where the bar was located. Now, the land price had increased by at least 10 times. In the past 10 years, Blue Lotus Bar had produced many famous singers. Some of them had already become big shots in the industry. Chang Wei's support could be said to be indispensable, but he never talked about these things. Chang Wei and Qin Jinhao had known each other for 10 years, and the relationship between them was enough for them to make some harmless jokes. However, towards the latter's joke, he still nodded seriously and said, "That's right." Qin Jinhao knew that for Chang Wei, the word "not bad" was already a very high evaluation. There was a time when a famous singer went to Blue Lotus Flower to sing and won a lot of applause, but Chang Wei's evaluation was only "not bad." Even with his shrewdness, he couldn't help but be overjoyed. This time, he was truly happy. "It's really not bad." A middle-aged woman sitting on the left side of Chang Wei agreed. Both songs are very unique. They are typical nostalgic folk songs. It's been a long time since I've heard such songs. It's really nostalgic. This woman was also about 40 years old. She had a round and plump face, and her skin was fair and well maintained. However, the crow's feet at the corner of her eyes betrayed her true age. Her charm and temperament were both extraordinary. Brother Chang and sister Chen both said it's not bad, so it definitely can't be wrong. Another man with squinting eyes said with a smile, "Director Su, since you're so familiar with Boss Jinhao, hurry up and sign this little buddy of his. Let him be heartbroken." The target of his teasing was Su Qingmei. However, he didn't know that Su Qingmei had already been humiliated by Lu Chen 2 days ago. Saying this to her now was simply touching a sore spot. It was close to slapping her in the face. Su Qingmei snorted and said, "Brother Kenho, this buddy is very arrogant. We can't afford to hire him." This lecherous man was Chang Wei's friend, and he was also a person in the circle. If he didn't know the inside story and made a joke, then he really shouldn't mix around in this industry anymore. Therefore, Su Qingmei could only endure. However, her resentment was very deep. Who here wasn't a smart person? Once they heard Su Qingmei's resentment, they immediately understood. The man with squinting eyes immediately realized that he had just said the wrong thing. He hurriedly added a sentence in surprise, "No way. He doesn't even like your light rain media?" Although he had the intention of pleasing the other party to make up for his mistake, he was also really surprised. Although Light Rain Media was a rising star in the industry and had just been established in Beijing for a short time, whether it was their background or strength, they could be said to be strong. They had recruited a group of outstanding talents to join them and were preparing to show their strength. This kind of new company could be said to have a boundless future. Recently, Light Rain Media and Blue Lotus Bar jointly held a music night. Who knew how many people wanted to squeeze their heads and show their faces? Everyone else was scrambling like ducks, but Lu Chen actually rejected Su Qingmei's invitation. It was really unimaginable. Big Chang Wei's evaluation of Lu Chen in his heart immediately dropped. His singing was not bad, he was also handsome, but his brain wasn't good. Qin Jinhao was a bit embarrassed. He coughed twice and said, "Xiao Lu's personality is a bit undisciplined. He doesn't want to be bound by the contract. He's still young, so his way of thinking is always different from us old guys." Chang Wei glanced at Su Qingmei and calmly said, "It's fine as long as his singing is good. Then count him in." No one objected, not even Su Qingmei. It was only a small matter. Brother Lu. On the other side, Lu Chen had just finished singing, but before he could enter the backstage, he was stopped by a waiter. Lu Chen stared blankly, then immediately smiled and said, "Brother Zhang, what's the matter?" There was no waiter in Forget Worries bar that Lu Chen didn't know, because he was originally one of them. However, he wasn't too familiar with this waiter named Zhang. The two of them didn't have any friendship, they only knew each other through work. In the past, his attitude towards Lu Chen wasn't this enthusiastic, and even had a bit of flattery. "I don't dare to call you brother," waiter Zhang repeatedly shook his head and said, "Brother Lu, you are now a signed singer. Just call me Little Zhang." A signed singer didn't need him to be so respectful. It was his former colleague, Little Gao. It was said that because he offended Lu Chen, he was fired by his boss and couldn't even survive in Ho-Hai. Lu Chen helplessly said, "Brother Zhang, if you have something to say, just say it. There's no need to be so polite." Waiter Zhang embarrassedly smiled, then pointed to the back and said, "The guests at table 27 over there want to chat with you. They are all university girls, and two of them are very beautiful." He winked, with an expression that said it would be a pity if he missed it. Lu Chen couldn't help but laugh and said, "Okay, I'll go over after I put down my guitar." "Thanks." He was very clear that the other party must have received a tip from someone else, which was why they were so attentive to him. However, this wasn't a big deal. It was better to be kind to others than to be scolded behind his back. He had been a waiter for a long time, so he knew the hardships and tiredness of this job. It really wasn't easy to earn money. Waiter Zhang was simply flattered, "Great, I'll go and tell the guests." "Thank you, Brother Lu." He eagerly ran away, and Lu Chen put down his guitar backstage and also came to table 27. Waiter Zhang didn't fool him. There were 5 girls at table 27, and at a glance, it was obvious that they were university students who came from the nearby university town to play. 2 of them could be considered beauties. "Hello." Lu Chen smiled and greeted, "Welcome to Nepenthes Bar." There were 5 seats for 4, so he didn't squeeze in. He was ready to leave after a few words. The 5 girls were all very shy. They looked at each other, and finally, one of them boldly stood up and said, "Hello, we saw your video on the forum, so we came to listen to your song." "You sang really well, forum." Lu Chen was surprised, "What forum?" "Beihai City Forum." The girl said with some excitement, "You're already famous there. The video that took you has already been posted on the Free World section with 100,000 views. Unfortunately, the content is only a small section, so we came here at night to watch the scene." She and Lu Chen started a conversation, and the other girls also became bolder and chattered. "I heard that someone came last night, but unfortunately, they didn't see you. They thought they were in the wrong place. Our luck is not bad, we saw the real person. Hee hee, it's the most comfortable to listen to it live. The sound quality of the video is too bad. Handsome, will you still go on stage to sing? So it was like this. Lu Chen nodded his head. He didn't know that someone secretly took a video of him and posted it on the forum. Does this guy not know the rules of Nepenthes Bar? He should be spanked on the butt. Achoo. At the same time, in Beijing Normal University's female dormitory 415. Student Xiaomi, who was sitting in front of her desk and flipping through her notes, suddenly couldn't help but sneeze loudly. She rubbed her nose and rubbed her butt, which was numb from sitting for so long. She felt a little baffled. Chapter 31. Lu Chen was no stranger to the Beihai City Forum. The Beihai City Forum was known as the #1 online BBS for college students in China. Whether it was popularity, it was very high. When he was studying at Jianghai University, he once went to the Beihai City Forum to chat, quarrel, and had his own forum account. Although he hadn't been there for a long time, when the memory came back, Lu Chen still felt familiar and intimate. Even the girls in front of him had a better impression. I'm glad you can come over and listen to me sing, he waved to the waiter surnamed Zhang, who was not far away, and said with a smile, I'll treat you to a drink of summer style, please take care of me, thank you. Summer style was a low-alcohol minty cocktail, most suitable for women to drink, and would not get drunk. The girls all laughed, some excited and some shy, brimming with a youthful and happy atmosphere. A girl in a white dress asked, Your name is Lu Chen, right? They said you're still studying at university? Is that true? Give me 5 cups of summer style, put it on my bill. Lu Chen glared at Xiao Zhang, who had just come over. This guy must have sold him out. He nodded and calmly replied, Yes, I'm studying at Jianghai University. I'll graduate in half a month. I can be considered as your senior, right? Xiao Zhang felt very guilty after being glared at by Lu Chen, and hurriedly ran to the bar to ask for a drink. The girls looked at each other, and then said in unison, Hello, senior. One of the girls in a yellow dress said, I've been to Jianghai University. I have a classmate studying in the art department there. Maybe you guys know each other. Senior, can you give me your QQ number? This girl in a yellow dress was very beautiful, and had many pursuers in the university. However, she was usually quite reserved in front of boys, and had never taken the initiative to ask other boys for contact information. But she really likes Lu Chen's songs. She likes both You Who Sat Next to Me and Cinderella. The most important thing is that Lu Chen is handsome and hearty. He is also a senior of Jianghai University. Naturally, she has a good impression of him. No problem. Lu Chen readily agreed and told them his QQ number. One by one, the girls took out their mobile phones, logged into their QQ numbers on the spot, and added Lu Chen as a friend. Lu Chen knew that these girls were all from Beijing Normal University. The girl in the white dress, Zhuo Xintian, and the girl in the yellow dress, Yi Zitong, were both sophomores from Beijing Normal University's Chinese department. Zhuo Xintian was just like her name, a cute and sweet type of girl. Yi Zitong was the most outstanding among the 5 girls in terms of figure and appearance. Zhuo Xintian asked, Senior Lu Chen, do you have the full version of the video or audio of the song you sang? Recording is not allowed here, so I want to bring it back for more people to hear. She looked at Lu Chen expectantly. Lu Chen said, This is simple. Do you know Whale TV? Whale TV? Zhuo Xintian's eyes lit up, and she quickly replied, Of course I know, I am also a bronze member. Lu Chen smiled and said, That's fine. You can search for the anchor Lu Fei, Lu as in land, Fei as in flying, and you can directly connect to my live broadcast room. There is the full version of the video of the 2 songs. You are also welcome to watch my live broadcast. He was also pulling in a few fans for himself. So you are also an online anchor. The girls were pleasantly surprised and said that they would definitely come to support him. At this time, Xiao Zhang brought over the cocktail, and Lu Chen said goodbye to the group of girls. After he left, the 4 girls seemed to have discussed it in advance, and they all stared at Yi Zidong. "You guys, what are you doing?" Yi Zidong felt inexplicably guilty under their stares. She picked up the wine glass and bit the straw, with a very innocent expression. The girl sitting opposite her laughed and said, "Quickly tell us, is our iceberg goddess interested in this senior Lu Chen? Tell us honestly, or else you will be punished severely." "What nonsense are you talking about?" Yi Zidong was suddenly embarrassed, and her pretty face flushed with an intoxicating red. She said angrily, "What iceberg goddess? How could I like senior Lu Chen? I just like his songs a little, it's you guys who are interested in him." Zhua Xintian added another stab, "First you like songs, then you like people. I have been to Jianghai University. I have a classmate studying in the art department there. Maybe you guys know each other." The girl opposite said in a sweet voice, "Senior, can you leave me your QQ number?" N? She repeated what Yi Zidong had just said, and at the end, she even added a long N, full of charm. Zhua Xintian and the others suddenly burst into laughter. The girls forgot that they were not in their own dormitory, but in a bar. Their laughter inevitably attracted a lot of strange looks from the surrounding customers. Feeling the strange atmosphere, the girls who realized the problem immediately shut their mouths and sat up straight. This allowed Yi Zidong to escape the disaster of being interrogated. She originally just liked the 2 songs sung by Lu Chen, but after being teased and joked by her companions, she didn't know why, but her heart actually throbbed a little. Could it be that she was interested in him? Yi Zidong's pretty face once again flushed with shyness. She quickly picked up the wine glass and drank a big mouthful of the summer flavor, using this to cover up her own absurd thoughts. On the stage, who is singing a touching love song? When Lu Chen returned to the basement, it was already 10:50 in the evening. He did not miss the agreed time for the live broadcast. He turned on the computer and logged into the Whale TV account. After signing with the platform, the second live broadcast started at 2300 hours sharp. This time was already past the prime time for live broadcasts, but it didn't matter, because Lu Chen had already agreed with Qin Jinhao in the bar. From tomorrow onwards, his performance time would be pushed back to after 10:30 in the evening. This way, his live broadcast time on Whale TV would be fixed at 7 to 10 o'clock, 3 hours was just right. Although it would be very hard, in the short term, Lu Chen did not plan to give up on any of these areas. Whale TV could allow him to earn a lot of money and popularity, and Forget Grass Bar could help him expand his circle of contacts, as well as give him more opportunities. Time flowed by like water, and Lu Chen returned to his usual routine. He woke up at 6 o'clock sharp in the morning, washed up, and then went out for a run. After tossing himself around until he was exhausted, he dragged his tired body back home. After lunch, he organized the information in his memory. For dinner, he went to a buffet. The price of the buffet was not cheap, but for Lu Chen's growing appetite, it was the most cost-effective, and he could afford it now. At 7 o'clock in the evening, work began. In Whale TV, or in other words, in the network broadcasting industry, Lu Chen was a complete newcomer. However, his performance in the live broadcast room was completely unlike that of a newcomer. This was because Lu Chen could use a clean and clear voice to sing lyrical ballads, or he could use a slightly hoarse voice to roar light rock songs, or he could tell jokes that others had never heard before. Coupled with his humorous and vivid expressions, his fans were overjoyed. Su Bo, Mo Ran, Fang Mingyi, singer, actor, and freelancer, 3 experiences and memories from the dream world, were displayed in Lu Chen through the internet, making him have a different charm from others. Tn, Su Bo, Mo Ran, Fang Mingyi. No selling face, no fooling, no sensationalism, no swearing, no third-rate jokes. In the fixed 3-hour live broadcast time, Lu Chen has always treated the audience and fans seriously. To be continued. Attitude determined everything. Some people watched Lu Chen's live broadcast and left without paying attention, but more and more people stayed and became the fish fans of Lu Fei's live broadcast room. Every day, they they waited in front of the computer for him to start on time. Because everyone liked Lu Chen's playing and singing, they liked his jokes, and they liked interacting with him even more. Lu Chen's popularity in Whale TV continued to accumulate over time. The most important thing was that after the number of Lu Fei followers broke through the 50,000 mark, it continued to increase for a few days, reaching 70,000, 100,000. The highest number of online viewers was 150,000 plus, and the average number of daily donations was 3T plus. Although the growth in popularity has been greatly reduced after the newcomer recommendation, Lu Chen's goal has been aimed at the real popular anchors in Whale TV. Peter can replace them. Youth was just right, so it was time to go against the current. Chapter 32. May 23rd, Saturday, sunny. The sky looked as if it had just been washed. It was unbelievably clean. The pure blue screen didn't have any white clouds smeared on it. It felt very unreal. Even though Jing City had vigorously cleaned up the environment and got rid of the title of Haze City, this kind of blue sky was rarely seen. People couldn't help but feel happy. Although it wasn't the hottest season yet, the girls in the city had already changed into beautiful summer clothes. Short skirts fluttered on the streets, willfully showing off their long legs and youth. De Chen. Li Feiyu carried his leather suitcase and ran over while panting. He shouted at Lu Chen, who was standing on the roadside admiring the scenery, "Let's go quickly. If we're late, our spot might be taken by someone else." De Chen was Peter Pan's new name for Lu Chen. Originally, he had always called Lu Chen Big Singer, Xiao Lu, and Brother. Now that he considered Lu Chen's identity was different from before, after careful consideration, he finally decided on this name that he thought was very meaningful. According to Li Feiyu, people with status were all called De or Grandpa. Lu Chen currently couldn't reach the level of Grandpa, but De wasn't a problem. Others wouldn't look down on him if he called him De. Lu Chen, Lu Chen. Calling him De didn't sound good and was easy to misunderstand. Thus, he called him De Chen. Lu Chen didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Helplessly, Li Feiyu's mouth was the mouth of a salesman. The mouth of a salesman was known as one of the 7 weapons in the workplace. How could Lu Chen win? Thus, he could only let it be. "I've already said it 3 times. Our spot is fixed." Lu Chen was helpless. "It won't be snatched away by others. It's a bit too early to go over now. Tonight, Hohai's Blue Lotus Bar will be holding a music festival. The main sponsor is Light Rain Media. It's said that the scale of the event is very large and it's the grandest one in history. Quite a few people from the industry have been invited." Lu Chen was also one of the invited singers. When Blue Lotus asked him if he had any requests, he thought about it and asked for a VIP seat. At the same time, he hoped that Blue Lotus would allow him to broadcast the music night live. That's right, tonight's program in Lu Fei's studio was Light Blue Music Night. This idea was born when Qin Jinhao told Lu Chen about the invitation. Nowadays, the content of online live broadcasts was getting richer and richer. Sitting in front of the computer every day, it was easy for the audience and fans to get tired of it. Therefore, it was necessary to come up with something new. His performance on stage at Light Blue Music Night was undoubtedly an excellent gimmick. In order to achieve his goal, Lu Chen didn't hesitate to tell Blue Lotus that he could give up his performance fee. He believed that the tips from the fish fans would be enough to make up for the loss. However, they were very generous. Not only did they agree to all of Lu Chen's requests, they also didn't give a single cent less. Blue Lotus Music Night never restricted recording. They would even take the initiative to post the live video on the internet for others to watch in order to increase the influence of the event. As a result, Lu Chen smoothly obtained a VIP seat. He didn't sit in this seat and gave it to Li Feiyu. Because doing a live broadcast required someone to help, Peter Pan was naturally the most suitable and the only candidate. When Li Feiyu found out, he was extremely happy. He started preparing 2 days in advance. In reality, outdoor live broadcasts were very simple. A 4G smartphone could be used to complete it. Li Feiyu wasn't careless at all. Aside from the high-definition camera and high-quality microphone, he also bought a tripod, camera box, sound filter, and other equipment. Of course, these things were all paid for by Lu Chen. He would still need them in the future. Don't be late. Go early and prepare early. Li Fei laughed and said, I've heard people talk about Blue Lotus Music Festival a long time ago. It's very lively. Little May has been there before. This time, I was a VIP and told her about it live. She said she'll watch it tonight in our broadcast room. As he spoke, he was beaming with joy. He unknowingly revealed his tale. Lu Chen curiously asked, Didn't Little May resign? Are you still in contact with her? Little May was the receptionist at the 4S store that Li Feiyu worked at. She was beautiful and had many pursuers. Li Feiyu was one of them. Speaking of which, when Li Feiyu started broadcasting, it was because of Little May's influence. It was said that Little May earned tens of thousands of yuan every month. She even decided to quit her job at the 4S store and become a professional broadcaster. Don't mention it. Li Feiyu regretfully said, Little May's broadcast room violated the rules and was banned. She didn't resign. Although his tone was regretful, his face didn't have the slightest bit of regret. Instead, he looked very happy. Lu Chen couldn't help but laugh. He didn't say anything. Little May, who he had never met before, was clearly not a good match. However, since Li Feiyu liked her, he couldn't say anything. Taxi. Li Feiyu waved his hand and stopped a taxi that just passed by. The two of them rushed to Hohai. The taxi drivers in Beijing were all familiar with the area. After saying the address, they quickly pulled them to the parking lot outside of Blue Lotus Bar. Blue Lotus Bar's predecessor was a small factory. Later, after the transformation of the city, it became its current layout. In front of the bar was a bustling pedestrian street. Behind it was a rippling artificial lake. Unlike Forget Grass Bar, Blue Lotus Bar's parking lot was connected to a two-lane asphalt road. Therefore, it was very convenient to enter and exit. Whether it was a normal day or a holiday, there were no empty seats if you went late. Business was booming. What made people most envious was that the owner of Blue Lotus Bar, Chang Wei, bought a large house, an even larger parking lot, and the land. If he washed his hands of this business and sold it, he wouldn't be able to spend it all in 3 lifetimes. However, Chang Wei never had this kind of thought. He always diligently ran his own bar and had a heroic spirit. When people in the industry talked about him, they all gave him a thumbs up. The music festival started at 7 p.m. It wasn't even 5 p.m. yet, but there were already many people like the two of them who came early. Some of them were in the same industry as Lu Chen, but most of them were the audience. The venue and stage had already been set up. There were lights, sound systems, and large LED screens. Many staff members were busy making final adjustments and maintaining order. After getting out of the car at the intersection, Li Feiyu's eyes stared straight. F***CK, this is simply a concert. The parking lot was large enough. Even if a part of it was used as a stage, it wouldn't be a problem to accommodate 2,000 to 3,000 audience members. In all of Hohai, this was the only place that had the ability to host such a large event. Excuse me, are you two here to participate in the performance? A staff member walked over and politely asked. Yes. Lu Chen took out his ID card and VIP ticket for the staff member to examine. The Blue Lotus Music Festival had already been held many times and had always been very formal. Without an ID card or an audience ticket, you wouldn't be able to enter. He even noticed that there was a blue and white police car parked not far away. It should have been sent by the local police station. After the staff member examined the ID card and ticket, he said, "Please follow me." Under the guidance of the staff member, Lu Chen and Li Feiyu passed through the parking lot and entered the Blue Lotus Bar. The layout and decoration of the Blue Lotus Bar was undoubtedly much more extravagant than Forget Worries Bar. Just the wavy bar counter alone was more than twice the length of Forget Worries Bar. The wine racks were filled with a dazzling lineup of alcohol. Upside-down glass cups were shining brightly under the illumination of the lights. The bar was divided into upper, middle, and lower floors. The T-shaped stage was very international in style, and the large screen was at least 500 inches wide. The cleverly arranged lighting and sound equipment made people gasp in amazement. Because the event was going to be held at night, the inside of the bar wasn't open for business. The hall on the bottom floor was used as a temporary backstage area with different sections for the singers and bands that came to participate in the performance. The Forget Grass Bar's location was on the right side of the bar counter. 3 wine tables were put together to form a long table. The space given wasn't small. Of course, Lu Chen wasn't the only one representing Forget Grass Bar on stage. However, the members of the Bionics and Sister Na hadn't arrived yet. There weren't many singers from other bars either. After Lu Chen put away his guitar, he and Li Feiyu went to the VIP area on the second floor. Chapter 33. The so-called VIP area was actually the open-air balcony outside the middle and upper floors of the bar. A row of 10 or so tables with umbrellas were arranged, overlooking the entire parking lot. The line of sight was undoubtedly the best. Compared to tiptoeing to watch the performance below, sitting here was much more comfortable. The VIP seat that Blue Lotus Bar provided for Lu Chen was very good. It was table number 5 near the center. However, the waiter who brought them up said that because there were too many customers, they needed to share a table with others and couldn't enjoy it alone. Whether it was Lu Chen or Li Feiyu, neither of them had any objections. After the waiter left, Li Feiyu sat down on his seat. Both of his hands held the handles of the soft chair and twisted his body. Then, he picked up the iced peppermint water that was just delivered and took a sip. He narrowed his eyes and looked at the busy and nervous preparation of the stage. His expression was cool, really cool. Lu Chen opened the suitcase he brought and took out the tripod, computer, and other items. "Let me do it." Li Feiyu had enough fun. He put the empty cup on the table and immediately jumped up. The preparation for the outdoor live broadcast was very simple. He just needed to connect the camera, microphone, filter, and laptop. The former was fixed on the tripod and he just needed to choose the angle to shoot and pick up the sound. He didn't need much professional ability. He just needed to turn on the computer and connect to the free Wi-Fi in the bar. In just a few minutes, he smoothly logged into the Whale TV live broadcast room. Dong Yao, I'm Dong Guai. Please respond if you hear me." Li Feiyu imitated the tone of the protagonist of a military drama and seriously shouted into the microphone, "Please respond." He shouted 3 times in one breath. Finally, there was a response on the screen. "I hear you, pig." "Damn, who is this? The voice is so ugly. Scary demonic sound. Huh? Why is the live broadcast starting now? Didn't they say there would be a live broadcast of the music carnival at 7 p.m? It looks like it's a test. I can see the stage. It looks like a big scene. Where's Lu Feida? Where did the host go?" Yeah, Li Feiyu laughed and turned the camera to face Lu Chen. "Dang, the host that everyone wants, our Lu Feida is here, everyone welcome him." Lu Chen chuckled, waved at the camera and said, "Hello everyone, I'm Lu Fei. I'm testing the equipment now, and the live broadcast is still at 7 p.m. Don't miss it." The number of followers in Lu Fei's live broadcast had exceeded 120,000. There were not many people online, but when they saw Lu Chen, they were very enthusiastic, and comments quickly appeared on the screen. Other than greetings, everyone was most concerned about the situation of the live broadcast. Lu Chen patiently answered their questions, saying that he would definitely perform on the stage. As for what song he would sing, that needed to be kept a secret for the time being. He would definitely give everyone a surprise. "I'm looking forward to it. Is it a new song? Actually, I still want to listen to you, my desk mate. I'll never get tired of it. Cinderella." Cinderella. 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 It's shameful to dominate the screen. Lu Fei-da, you can do it. Don't say anything. I cancelled my date with my girlfriend tonight. I'm waiting to see General Lu perform on stage. Isn't your girlfriend Miss Wu? Anyway, I'm going to bring her. Ha ha ha. The building is askew again. Oh alas. After chatting for a few minutes and seeing that the operation was normal, Lu Chen said goodbye to his fans and arranged to see them at 7 p.m. Li Gu, let's go eat first. Lu Chen looked at the time and saw that it was just after 5 p.m., so he closed the computer and said, I'll treat you to a beef brisket pot on the pedestrian street. It tastes great. Li Feiyu swallowed his saliva, touched his belly and said, I'm a little hungry. Let's go. What about the computer? Lu Chen didn't mind and said, leave it here. No one will steal it. There isn't any important information inside, right? The laptop was Li Feiyu's and it was also something that he had used for many years. If he gave it to those who could get a seat in the VIP area, they would probably think it was dirty. As for the microphone and camera, there was no need to even mention it. Li Feiyu laughed, there really is a lot of important information. 500 gigabytes of files. If we lose it, it would be a big loss. Lu Chen was speechless and quickly pulled this wretched guy out of the bar. After eating the fragrant pot of rice, it was almost 6 p.m. when they returned to the Blue Lotus. At this time, the sky gradually darkened. The lights were turned on, but there weren't many of them. Inside the performance venue, there were at least 1,000 people gathered. They sat on the small plastic stools provided by the bar. Many of them were couples leaning against each other and whispering to each other, making a group of single dogs blind. The music video was being played on the big screen on the stage. The sound was very soft and there weren't many busy staff members. Inside the bar, there were quite a few participating bands and singers. They were chatting, greeting each other, and drinking. Lu Chen found his seat, but the Bionics and Sister Na still didn't appear. Instead, there was a piece of paper on the table. Looking at the bold title, it should be the schedule for tonight's performance. He didn't mind and said to Li Feiyu, Li Gu, you go up first. Order whatever you want to drink and put it on my tab. Tonight's live broadcast depends on you. Don't worry. Li Feiyu patted his chest and said, if I can't earn 5T, brother, I'll bring my head to see you. Lu Chen didn't know whether to laugh or cry as he sent off this guy who loved to show off. He took his place, and stretched out his hand for the list which lay on the table. In the Blue Lotus Music Carnival, other than sending out the bar's singers, they would also invite people of the same profession to participate. This performance didn't need to be rehearsed in advance. The performance time was arranged according to the number of bands and singers. The sound wasn't adjusted at the venue and the singers could also sing without plugging in their headphones. They would rely on their own strength to win the applause of the audience. Because Chang Wei was willing to spend money and had a wide network, the Blue Lotus Music Carnival became more and more famous. They could even invite famous singers to participate. Every time it was held, people in the entertainment circle would come to watch. Among them, there was no lack of executives and directors of entertainment companies. Therefore, the order of appearance was very important. Lu Chen wanted to see what position he was going to go on stage. Just as he picked up the schedule, 4 or 5 young people suddenly walked over. The leader was a young man around 20 years old. He was about 1.6 meters tall and had a trendy hairstyle. He had fair skin and a handsome appearance. He also wore a diamond earring on his left ear. His eyes were evil and his nose was pointed up. When this trendy man walked, the soles of his feet seemed to be equipped with springs, bouncing and bouncing. Then, the denim jacket that was decorated with metal plates on his body rattled, and a thick silver-plated chain hung from his waist to his trouser leg. He stood in front of Lu Chen and continuously chewed his gum. He asked, "Are you from Forget Worries Bar?" Lu Chen didn't like the other party's overbearing impoliteness. Therefore, He didn't stand up and faintly nodded his head. "You're called Lu Chen, right?" The trendy young man revealed a mocking smile and said, "I heard that you play the guitar pretty well and that you're quite arrogant. Now it seems that it's true. Do you know me?" Lu Chen calmly stood up and said in a deep voice, "So what if I know you?" "So what if I don't know you?" Lu Chen didn't like to cause trouble, but he wasn't afraid of it. Although he didn't know why the other party wanted to provoke him, it would be laughable if he swallowed his anger. The trendy young man suddenly jumped in fright and instinctively retreated 2 steps. Lu Chen's height exceeded 1.8 meters. In terms of height, he had an absolute advantage. Moreover, during this period of time, he had persevered in training. Although he didn't have the muscles of a strong man, he had his own strength and imposing manner. Both sides faced each other, and Lu Chen completely crushed his opponent. Noticing the faint smile on Lu Chen's face, the trendy young man realized that he had made a fool of himself. He was incomparably embarrassed and shouted, "What? Do you want to fight?" The companions that followed him all revealed unfriendly expressions. Lu Chen indifferently smiled and said, "Fight? If it was outside, would accompany you at any time, but not here." This was Blue Lotus Bar, the territory of Big Boss Chong Wei. Who would dare to fight here? At least you're tactful. Many people in the surrounding area noticed the commotion and looked over. The trendy young man didn't dare to continue causing trouble. He put on a strong front and roared, "We'll wait and see. There will be a time for you to cry." He left with his companions. After walking a few steps, he suddenly turned his head and raised his hand to make a throat-slitting gesture at Lu Chen. "This brat." Lu Chen was so angry that he laughed. "Whose house is this?" Chapter 34. Lu Chen was puzzled. Suddenly, someone patted his shoulder. He instinctively turned his head and saw that Sister Na had appeared behind him without him knowing. Qin Hanyang and the other 4 members of the Bionics were also there. Lu Chen couldn't help but feel a burst of joy. "Sister Na, Brother Qin, you're both here?" "I'm here." Sister Na smiled. "I had something to do at the bar with De Qin. Fortunately, it's not too late." "You're early." Qin Hanyang nodded and suddenly asked, "Xiao Lu, do you know Little Cheng?" "Little Cheng?" Lu Chen was stunned. "Brother Qin, are you talking about that guy?" This time it was Qin Hanyang's turn to be surprised. "You really don't know him?" "That's Qing Xiaodong, the lead singer of the Fit Band. They're based at Flaming Rose. They're a very popular band recently." This was the first time Lu Chen heard of Qing Xiaodong's name, but he was familiar with Flaming Rose. Flaming Rose was a very famous bar in Sanlitun. It was very big and business was very good. It was said that Flaming Rose was first opened in Hohai. Because its management style was incompatible with Hohai's atmosphere, it moved to Sanlitun a few years ago. Everyone in the circle knew about it. Speaking of which, it was interesting to note that many of the bars in Hohai were named after flowers. For example, Blue Lotus, Daylily, Hyacinth, Dandelion, etc., which was different from the Sanlitun bars. Flaming Rose was the same. It didn't change its name after moving to Sanlitun. Lu Chen smiled bitterly. "I really don't know him. I haven't even been to Flaming Rose before. He suddenly came to find me." He didn't say that Qing Xiaodong was provoking him, but Qin Hanyang should have seen Qing Xiaodong's throat slit. Sister Na thoughtfully said, "Little Yi seems to be familiar with the Fit Band." Sister Na's reminder might be a bit vague, but Lu Chen understood it as soon as he heard it. Little Yi was Yi Zhenyang, the resident singer of Daylily Bar. Qin Hanyang said, "Let's sit down first. We have to sing well tonight. This time we will be on stage for a long time." The Blue Lotus Music Carnival was extremely famous in the circle. Which singer in the bar didn't want to go on stage and try their luck? However, the duration of the performance was always limited, so there were often too many monks and not enough gruel. In the past, Forget Worries bar's singers had also appeared many times, but at most they were given 15 minutes of stage time. This year's light blue music night was the grandest, and it was sponsored by a new media company in the industry. Who knew how many people would break their heads just to get in? Forget Worries Bar was allocated 2 singers and a band, giving them a full 30 minutes. Even Shinjinhao said that Boss Chang was giving him too much face. As for how the time was allocated, Blue Lotus didn't care. They only cared about the order in which the singers would appear. Everyone sat down around the table. Qin Hanyang said, "The performance is about to start. Let's allocate the time on stage first." Sister Na, who allocated the time, was very important. As the big brother of Forget Worries Bar, Qin Hanyang naturally wouldn't pass on this responsibility. However, he still had to respect Sister Na's opinion. Sister Na said, "I will only sing 1 song. Give me 5 minutes. Xiao Lu, give me 10 minutes. 2 songs." Under normal circumstances, the allocation of time on stage was based on the status of the industry. Qin Hanyang and Sister Na would both sing 2 songs, leaving 1 song for Lu Chen. A total of 5 songs and 30 minutes was just right. The duration of a song was usually around 4 minutes. After entering and exiting the stage and saying a few words, it would be done in 5 minutes. A single singer was enough, but the band was a bit more troublesome. So, half of the time was given to Qin Hanyang. However, Sister Na actually gave her time to sing a song for Lu Chen. This was really unexpected. Lu Chen quickly said, "Sister Na, 1 song is enough for me." Sister Na smiled and said, "How is 1 song enough? You, who sat next to me, and Cinderella. It would be a pity to have 1 less song. We should let everyone know that Forget Worries Bar has a talented singer. I will sing the song you wrote for me." Qin Hanyang actually nodded his head and said, "Sister Na is right. The song you wrote for her is very good." In Lu Chen's impression, Qin Hanyang was a serious singer. As the lead singer and leader of the Bionics, he spent most of his time in Forget Worries Bar with his band members. He would only come out when it was time to perform. Lu Chen had been working at Forget Grass Bar for 3 years. The number of times he had spoken to this big brother added up couldn't be compared to now. So, when he heard Qin Hanyang's praise, Lu Chen actually felt a little flattered. "It's my luck that I got to know Xiao Lu." Sister Na smiled happily and said, "Xiao Lu, this song of yours has already been arranged by De Qin. Tonight, I will go on stage with the Bionics. They will accompany me. After that, the rest of the time is up to you." When it comes to arranging music, Lu Chen is really ashamed. Although he has countless classic works in his memory, and there is no problem in sorting out the melody notation, it is not enough to arrange a complete music again. The main reason was that Lu Chen lacked experience in this area. He also needed to learn and recharge. Otherwise, in the future, if he only knew how to write melodies and didn't know how to arrange songs, it would be easy to be criticized by others. No matter what, Sister Na insisted and Qin Hanyang didn't have any objections. The time given to Lu Chen for the 2 songs was set. The lead guitarist, bassist, drummer, and keyboardist of the Bionics all looked at Lu Chen with a "you lucky kid" expression, which made him feel very embarrassed. Qin Hanyang picked up the form on the table that Lu Chen had not seen yet, browsed it, and frowned. Sister Na was very sensitive. "What's wrong? Is there a problem?" Qin Hanyang shook his head and said, "There's no big problem. It's just that Xiao Lu isn't arranged to go on stage with us. In front of him is the Fit Band, behind him is the North Needle Band, and then it's our turn." In the past, singers from the same bar would be arranged to go on stage together. This was because many singers would be accompanied by their own band, such as Sister Na and the Bionics. But situations like Lu Chen's were deliberately separated were very rare. Sister Na didn't care. "Is this okay? Xiao Lu's level of playing and singing is most suitable for a solo performance." Qin Hanyang muttered, "I heard that the main purpose of this music festival is to promote the North Needle Band. The North Needle Band was formed 2 years ago. The band's lead singer, Gan Lang, was a very strong singer and was currently signed to the Blue Lotus Bar. The North Needle Band was famous for their light rock style and was much more famous than the Bionics. The news that Chin Hanyang received was that the North Needle Band had changed their contract to Light Rain Media. This music festival was held to promote the North Needle Band and would be officially announced at the end of the performance. Light Rain Media even invited a group of industry insiders and media reporters. Therefore, the North Needle Band's performance at night was the most important part of the festival. Lu Chen was in front of them, and the Fit Band was in front of him. No matter how you looked at it, it seemed like they were caught in a pincer attack. Chin Hanyang and Sister Na were both experienced and understood after a moment of analysis. Sister Na hesitated for a moment and said, "Xiao Lu, do you want to change songs?" The Fit Band and the North Needle Band were both rock bands. Their performances were definitely passionate and could easily stir up the emotions of the audience, which in turn ignited the atmosphere of the venue. If it was the Bionics in the middle, Chin Hanyang would be able to control the scene. But if everyone was excited and Lu Chen went up with a guitar and sang, "You Who Sat Next to Me," or "Cinderella," he would probably be booed off the stage after singing a few lines. The style was completely wrong. The audience who came to the music festival weren't fans of anyone. If they felt that the song wasn't good, they would just boo. Very few singers would be able to persist in such a humiliating situation. Chin Hanyang agreed, "Yes, change to a more energetic song. Our band will accompany you." The order of the lineup had already been set. Changing people on stage at the last minute was definitely not possible, as it would be disrespectful to the organizers. However, there was no problem for the band to go on stage with the singer. With the support of the Bionics, Lu Chen's momentum would certainly not be bad. However, he could only give up on the two original songs. At this time, how could Lu Chen still not understand that he was being used as a stepping stone? No wonder the people from the Fit Band came to provoke him. "Thank you, Brother Chin, thank you, Sister Na, but I think I can go on stage by myself." Lu Chen was very grateful for Chin Hanyang and Sister Na's kindness and reminder, but he didn't have any intention of backing down. Instead, his fighting spirit was completely aroused. "Want to step on me? Then let's see who will step on who." Chapter 35. Lu Chen insisted on going on stage by himself. Chin Hanyang and Sister Na looked at each other and tacitly didn't try to persuade him. Because the two of them were young and hot-blooded, they struggled to resist oppression and injustice. No matter if the result was success or failure, they still tried their best. So they understood Lu Chen's insistence and didn't want to use their status as a senior to teach Lu Chen a lesson, even if it was out of good intentions. There are no failures in youth. Only by experiencing setbacks and failures can a person truly mature and grow up. Sister Na encouraged, "Good luck, we all support you." Chin Hanyang also nodded his head. However, the other four members of the Bionics had a strange expression on their faces. They looked at Lu Chen with a strange expression. From their point of view, Lu Chen simply didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. He treated Brother Chin and Sister Na's good intentions as ill intent. If he went on stage like this, he would definitely suffer. They were afraid that he would be booed to the point where he couldn't even get off stage. The atmosphere of Blue Lotus Music Festival was definitely not something a bar could compare to. 2,000 to 3,000 people gathered together to shout and scream. The sound waves created could flip the roof. If one didn't have a strong mental fortitude, it would be too easy to lose face because of stage fright. If it wasn't for Chin Hanyang not saying anything, they all wanted to wake Lu Chen up. "Who do you think you are?" Lu Chen suddenly smiled and said, "Sister Na, I prepared a new song today." Out of everyone present, Sister Na was undoubtedly the one who cared about him the most. So, Lu Chen didn't want to hide it anymore. He simply revealed his burden and said, "I believe it won't make forget worries bar Lu's face." Sister Na's eyes suddenly lit up. "Really? Since you're confident, then there's no problem. I believe in your ability." To be able to write such a good song for her, how could there be a problem when Lu Chen was prepared? From a certain point of view, Sister Na could now be considered Lu Chen's fan. Qin Hanyang's thoughts were a bit more complicated. Originally, he didn't have much of an impression of Lu Chen. Even though Lu Chen had worked at Forget Worries Bar for half a year, the two of them didn't talk much. It wasn't until she arranged the music for Sister Na that she realized there was such a talented young man by her side. However, Qin Hanyang believed that Lu Chen's two ballads were not as good as the song he wrote for Sister Na. Now that he heard Lu Chen say that he had written a new song, he felt very emotional in his heart. Qin Hanyang had been involved in music composition before, so he deeply understood the difficulty of originality and how difficult it was to come up with a good song. With just these 3 songs, Lu Chen was fully qualified to be ranked among the second-rate or even first-rate songwriters. Moreover, his desire to compose was so strong. If he could have a steady stream of fresh inspiration, it would not be a dream for him to achieve great things in the future. I hope so. Outside the French windows, the sky was already dark. All the lights in the performance venue were lit, and the bright light shone on the crowded crowd. The atmosphere was warm and noisy, making people feel like they were in the middle of summer. There was still half an hour before the official start of the Blue Sky Music Festival. The audience had basically all arrived. Young men and women sat on small plastic stools, chatting and laughing. There were also some who held up fluorescent signs and glow sticks. On the stage, the large LED screen flashed a blurry and illusory image. The drums, electronic organs, synthesizers, and other heavy equipment had already been set up, waiting for the band to come up and use it. According to the usual practice, the inconvenient instruments were provided by Blue Lotus Bar. Therefore, some of the band's drummers and keyboardists ran over in advance to try it out. Their actions caused the audience to clamor from time to time. And on the balcony of the top floor of Blue Lotus Bar, the atmosphere in the VIP area was undoubtedly a lot more relaxed. Immaculately dressed gentlemen and meticulously dressed ladies carried champagne or red wine. They gathered in groups of 2s and 3s to socialize. Uniformed waiters carried plates of refreshments and drinks. They walked through the crowd without looking sideways. Everything seemed to be orderly. Among them, the most eye-catching was a slender and graceful woman wearing a Prada summer dress. She was surrounded by many people like stars surrounding the moon. She became the focus of the audience. This woman wearing Prada had a delicate and beautiful appearance. Her fine black hair was tied into a bun and she used a pair of black titanium glasses to cover her enchanting almond-shaped eyes. Her jade-like face was lightly made up and her temperament was especially outstanding. Chief Dong, long time no see. Although she was surrounded by many people and they all flattered her, the woman who was called Chief Dong maintained a polite smile on her face. She politely responded to the greetings and intimacy of others. However, hidden behind the glasses, a trace of helplessness flashed through her eyes. This was the true expression of her inner feelings. Dong Yu, 27 years old, the general manager of Light Rain Media Company. She had just returned from overseas at the beginning of the year. Even if she had an extraordinary family background, it wasn't good for her to have a cold expression towards these men who were coveting, drooling, or admiring her. After all, in this line of work, networking was incomparably important. Fortunately, Su Qingmei appeared and rescued Dong Yu in time. The two sister partners hid in a corner and had a private chat. The men who couldn't find an opportunity could only resentfully retreat. I shouldn't have come tonight. Dong Yu opened her carry-on bag and skillfully took out a pack of cigarettes and a lighter. Then, she lit a mint cigarette and took a puff. She complained to Su Qingmei, "You left me here and ran away." She developed the habit of smoking when she was studying abroad. She didn't really like it, but when she was annoyed, she would light a cigarette and it could more or less relieve her mood. Su Qingmei smiled and said, "Aren't I here to save you now? It's also good to make more friends. You can't always shut yourself in the office. You'll be bored to death and become a perverted old virgin." Su Qingmei. Dong Yu extinguished the cigarette in the ashtray and glared at her with her almond-shaped eyes. "Have you been itching for a beating recently?" "I don't dare." Su Qingmei hurriedly begged for mercy. "Sister Yu, I know I was wrong. I just ran off to pick talents for the company. She pretended to be afraid and pitiful, which made Dong Yu feel both angry and amused. But in his heart, he was thinking, such a beautiful and charming woman, who knows which bastard would end up taking advantage of her. Dong Yu asked, did you find anything? Su Qingmei pouted and said, nothing much. I'll see later. Dong Yu's heart moved and she asked, didn't you unearth a promising newcomer from Brother Kenho last time? Why is there no news now? Su Qingmei was stunned and asked in surprise, Sister Yu, how did you know? She had been snubbed by Lu Chen. How could she take the initiative to tell Dong Yu? She didn't expect Dong Yu to already know. She suddenly felt her teeth itch. She wanted to eat someone. Dong Yu lightly laughed and said, I heard you talk in your sleep. Is that person not suitable? Light Rain Media Company was a joint venture between Dong Yu and Su Qingmei. When they first opened, they didn't walk the path of unbridled poaching. Instead, they focused on cultivating and uncovering promising newcomers. For example, Blue Lotus North Needle, a band with great potential, was successfully signed by the company. Dong Yu accidentally heard about Su Qingmei being snubbed by a newcomer, so she couldn't help but be curious. What kind of person could actually make this young miss hit a wall twice in a row? Therefore, she poked at Su Qingmei's sore spot and teased her, wanting to find out the truth. Su Qingmei grinded her teeth and said, I won't talk in my sleep. However, Sister Yu, you will see that guy soon. I'm afraid you will be disappointed. Her face revealed a secretive smile, like a fox that just stole a hen. Oh. Dong Yu raised her eyebrows and said, he will also go on stage tonight? Yes. Su Qingmei forcefully nodded her head. She pulled Dong Yu's hand and said, let's not talk about this. The performance is about to start. Let's go to Brother Chang's place. Tonight, he is the main character. It was already 6:50 in the evening. Light Rain Media and Blue Lotus Bar's Light Blue Night Music Carnival was about to begin. The first performing band had just stepped onto the stage. Chapter 36. It's starting, the performance is starting. So excited. So excited. So excited. So excited. So excited. Who can tell me when Lu Feida will go on stage? Same question, I also want to know. There are so many people, I really want to see it live, the feeling of being there is the best. The anchor is so powerful, he's going to have a concert. I'm deeply worried about the IQ of the child who is going to have a concert, waiting for the anchor to go on stage. At 7 p.m. sharp, the popularity of Lu Fei's live broadcast on Whale TV soared, the number of online viewers continued to skyrocket, and the momentum was so high that it reached the 100,000 mark. The growth rate was so high that people were simply stunned. A lot of Fish fans logged in at the right time, and the barrage filled the entire screen, making the live broadcast extremely lively. Because Lu Chen was going to perform on stage, Li Feiyu was the host of the live broadcast. Peter Pan had already started the live broadcast at 6 p.m. Relying on his silver level, salesman's mouth, he fooled more than 20,000 fans and persisted until his popularity exploded. It was accompanied by a large number of fish ball tips, and the hardcore local tycoon Li Bai even threw 3 aircraft carriers. He said in a domineering manner that after Lu Chen went on stage, he would give out 7 more aircraft carriers, and give a perfect performance on stage. Then the number of people who wanted to hug his thigh would increase tenfold. Others who don't know the inside story, seeing such a noisy and enthusiastic scene, it is estimated that they will really think that Lu Chen is holding a solo concert in the evening, so everyone will be so excited and enthusiastic. Li Feiyu smiled crookedly, ignoring the strange gazes cast by the surrounding people. This was the scene of a music carnival, and it was a normal atmosphere to be noisy. So he wasn't worried that his live broadcast would affect others and bring shame to himself and Lu Chen. The more lively it was, the better. The lights around the performance venue were extinguished one by one, and the lights on the stage were fully turned on, focusing on the first Watchman band on stage. The scene gradually quieted down, waiting for them to start singing. The Watchman Band, as the opening performer, was a legend in Hohai. The Watchmen was a national rock band that was founded 20 years ago and had persisted in pure rock for 20 years. National rock began in the early 1980s. At that time, under the influence of Western liberalism, domestic rock music began to sprout and develop, and new bands were born. By the end of the 1980s, it ushered in its heyday. At that time, there were as many as thousands of national rock bands, and many classics emerged. However, in the 1990s, with the rise of commercial pop music, pure rock suffered a serious market impact. Some rock singers followed the trend and took the initiative to change their overly personal and idealistic style, singing light rock or folk songs. However, there were also many rock singers who stubbornly defended the last position of national rock and refused to bow to the market. By now, national shake had already become a distant term, and only an extremely small number of people were still struggling bitterly. The Watchmen was such a band. When they were founded, the national rock scene had already declined, but relying on their firm belief and the support of a small number of fans, they persevered in the underground music circle of Hohai for 20 years. The Watchmen Band had never been very popular, nor had they produced any works that the public was familiar with. They firmly believed that rock and roll would not die, and persisted in their ideals, so they won the respect of many people in the circle. Cheenglan Music Carnival invited them to be the opening performers, which was also a sign of respect for their spirit. This was the best era for idealists, but also the worst era. The Watchmen Band had a total of 4 members, with an average age of 40+. All of them were uncles, and the songs they sang were obviously not liked and appreciated by young people. To Live is Equal to Death and A Bullet to the Chest, Lu Chen had never even heard of them. However, it was undeniable that their singing was full of vicissitudes of life. The passionate singing swept across the crowded venue, through the large format floor-to-ceiling glass outside the bar, and passed into the ears of everyone in the inner seats. Qin Hanyang suddenly said, "The lease of Nirvana Bar will end at the end of the year. I heard that it will be transferred out." His voice was bleak, and there was a trace of sadness. Sister Na was stunned, and then came to her senses. What about Big Mai and the others? Nirvana Bar was the territory of the Watchmen Band, and was also a member of the underground music circle in Hohai. The owner of the bar was a true lover of rock and roll. Without his support, the Watchmen Band would not be able to last until today. The Big Mai, that Sister Na said, was the lead singer and soul of the Watchmen Band, Mai Tian, a rock and roll veteran. "What else can we do?" Qin Hanyang said, "other than Nirvana Bar, which bar can give them a place to sing, we can only disband." Nirvana Bar was an old brand in Hohai, but it never made much money. As for the reason, everyone knew. Now that Nirvana Bar was about to close, the Watchmen Band naturally followed suit. He said with flagging interest, "It's good that they disband. Big Mai and the others are already in their 40s. They should spend more time on their own lives, and find a stable job that can make money, such as going to a music school to be an instrument teacher." As he spoke, he smiled bitterly. Qin Hanyang laughed at the Watchmen Band, but in fact, he was laughing at himself. Every circle has a pyramid structure, and below the winner are countless stepping stones. The Watchmen Band struggled to survive at the bottom, and the Bionics were the same. Sister Na was silent. On this topic, Lu Chen had nothing to say. When the Watchmen Band was formed, he had just learned how to walk and didn't know much about rock and roll music. But in his memory, there were a lot of rock and roll classics in the dream world. Qin Hanyang raised his beer glass and said with emotion, "We are all behind the times. The future world belongs to young people like Xiao Lu. Let's all drink to him." Cheers. Who wouldn't give him face when he spoke? Everyone in the room raised their glasses together. Whether it was a toast to Lu Chen, or a toast to the dying rock and roll, perhaps only everyone knew. Lu Chen quickly said, "Big brother Qin, you and Sister Na are not behind the times. I'll drink first." He drank the beer in his glass in one gulp. This made the other 4 members of the Bionics have a better impression of Lu Chen. They respected their seniors. On the big stage outside, The Watchman Band had just finished their performance. As expected, the two original works that they brought out did not resonate with the audience. The complex structure, obscure lyrics, and cathartic emotions made it difficult for the audience to understand. Finally, the intense rhythm and roars more or less brought up the atmosphere, and many people were waving glow sticks. The band and singer that came on stage were much smarter. They didn't play any independent original works, but directly covered popular songs that everyone was familiar with, light rock, rap, fast songs. It brought about wave after wave of popularity. More than 2,000 people in the audience all stood up. They raised their arms and swayed with the surging rhythm of the music, or sang in unison in response to the performance on the stage. Cheers, shouts, and screams rose one after another, and there was even a loud whistle in the midst of it. This kind of atmosphere could only be felt live. It was completely different from in front of the screen. Lu Chen's phone suddenly rang. The caller was Li Feiyu, who was doing the live broadcast. He called to ask Lu Chen's exact appearance time. "Everyone is anxiously waiting for you. The voice of the people is extremely strong." Lu Chen smiled and said, "In half an hour, it should be my turn to go on stage. Apologize to everyone for me." After hanging up the phone, Sister Na curiously asked, "You have friends that came to watch?" Lu Chen had to briefly explain the matter of his live broadcast. "This is very interesting." Sister Na's eyes lit up and said, "I know, it's very popular on the internet. In fact, you can do a live broadcast in our bar, and at the same time help Forget Worries Bar gain some fame." Lu Chen really did have this idea. He was about to answer when he saw a staff rushing over, waving the form in his hand and said, "Fit Band, and Forget Worries Bar's teacher Lu Chen, please go backstage to prepare." Chapter 37. This was the first time Lu Chen had been called a teacher. Of course, it wasn't a real teacher that taught and educated people. Instead, it was an elegant title given to those who had made their debut earlier or those who already had a reputation in the entertainment industry. It was suitable for both men and women. The Blue Lotus Music Festival had been held many times and was very influential in Hohai's small circle. Those who were able to perform on stage weren't ordinary people. In comparison, Lu Chen's qualifications were the lowest. So when he heard the title, teacher, he was a little embarrassed. Sister Na stood up and said, "Great Qin, I'll be going first." She was still worried for Lu Chen. After all, he had to face thousands of people tonight. Going early was to support Lu Chen and at least let Lu Chen know that he wasn't alone. Qin Hanyang hesitated for a moment and also stood up. "If you want to go, then let's go together. We're all family." Lu Chen understood their intentions and gratefully said, "Thank you, Brother Qin, thank you, Sister Na." "No need to be so polite." Qin Hanyang reached out and patted his shoulder. "You have real talent, so you should be more confident." Lu Chen silently nodded. What Qin Hanyang said was right. He should be more confident. With 3 rich life memories and a world of spiritual wealth, he was no longer the original him. Lu Chen didn't fear any challenges. He couldn't help but look at the Fit Band not far away. Coincidentally, the lead singer of the band, Qing Xiaodong, turned his head and their gazes collided in the air. It was as if an invisible flame was shining. Qing Xiaodong's lips curved into a mocking smile as he disdainfully left with his companion. Lu Chen didn't get angry. He picked up his guitar case and went backstage. He would use his singing to fight back. The backstage was on the left side of the stage. It was used by the band and singers. Because the space wasn't big, only when it was almost time would the staff come to take attendance. When Lu Chen, Sister Na, and the Bionics arrived backstage, there were already a lot of people there. This also included the Fit Band. Qing Xiaodong saw Qin Hanyang and the others walk in but didn't pay attention to them. Instead, he just chatted and laughed with his friends. Great Qin, Sister Na, a man in a jacket in his 30s stood up and smiled. "You guys came so early?" His figure was slender, his cheeks were reserved, his cheekbones were high, and his eyes were bright and full of expression. His messy long hair draped over his shoulders, making him look a bit like a down-and-out artist. He was a common sight in Songzhuang village in Tongzhou. Qin Hanyang shook his hand and gave him a big hug. Then he introduced him to Lu Chen. "This is big brother Gan Lang, and this is our little brother, Lu Chen." Lu Chen was neither humble nor arrogant as he extended his hand. "Big brother Gan Lang." Gan Lang shook his hand and smiled. "I saw you at Forget Worries Bar. Your 2 original ballads were good." The fact that the lead singer of the North Needle Band had seen Lu Chen perform at Forget Worries Bar surprised Lu Chen. "Thank you, please give me some pointers, big brother Gan." "I don't dare to give pointers, but I don't have the ability to create original songs," Gan Lang asked seriously. "Xiao Lu, are you going to sing those 2 songs tonight?" Lu Chen shook his head and said, "No." "That's right." Gan Lang said, "The style of your 2 ballads isn't suitable for a live performance. Something else would be better." Lu Chen smiled and didn't say anything. His mind was very sharp and he could hear the meaning behind the other's words. The lead singer of the North Needle Band might have a straightforward personality, but under his generous appearance, there was a deep arrogance. He bluntly reminded Lu Chen that he wasn't really thinking about Lu Chen, but that he didn't want to win too easily. Or maybe it was too easy. Gan Lang continued to chat with Sister Na while Qing Xiaodong looked at Lu Chen with a gloating expression. Lu Chen calmly found a seat in the corner of the backstage, took out his guitar and began to tune it. Warm applause and cheers could be heard from outside as the band's performance was coming to an end. The staff came in and told the band to get ready to go on stage. Qing Xiaodong immediately jumped up and jumped twice on the spot. The shiny accessories on his body clattered noisily. "Brothers, let's go." Before leaving, he glanced at Lu Chen again, his eyes full of provocation. The appearance of the fit band caused quite a stir in the audience. Dozens of boys and girls were holding up fluorescent signs with the words, "Fei Du," and "Qing Xiaodong" written on them. They were shouting each other's names in unison. They were so excited that they looked like they were about to cry. Qing Xiaodong held his electric guitar in his right hand as he raised his left hand and waved at the fans. "Good evening everyone, I'm very happy to be able to participate in the Light Blue Night. I am Qing Xiaodong from the Fit Band. Qing Cheng. Qing Cheng. Qing Cheng." Many female fans screamed as they desperately waved the fluorescent sticks in their hands. "This Fit Band seems to be very popular." In the VIP seats on the top floor of the Blue Lotus Bar, Dong Yu whispered to Su Qingmei who was sitting next to her, "Have you ever thought of poaching them?" Light Rain Media had only been established for a short period of time. The job of recruiting artists had always been done by Su Qingmei. Su Qingmei bitterly said, "The Fit Band has already been poached by other companies. The other party's offer was much better than ours, so I gave up because the price was too high." Dong Yu nodded in understanding. She had set a stable development path for Light Rain Media. She didn't seek to reach the sky in one step, but rather to slowly consolidate the foundation. She wanted to accumulate enough experience and strength before she planned to break out. Therefore, in the beginning, they wouldn't spend too much money to sign new people. There were a lot of people sitting around Su Qingmei and Dong Yu. Chang Wei and Qin Jinhao were both there. There were also famous people in the entertainment circle such as entertainment company executives, music website editors, songwriters, and professional music critics. The lineup was quite strong. Chang Wei turned to Qin Jinhao and smiled, "Old Qin, after the Fit Band's performance, it will be your Xiao Lu's turn." Qin Jinhao smiled bitterly, "Boss Chang, who arranged the order of appearance this time?" Qin Jinhao had many years of experience. How could he not see the trick in the order of appearance? Previously, he didn't say anything. Now that Chang Wei mentioned it, he took the opportunity to ask. He believed that Chang Wei wouldn't do such a thing. Chang Wei laughed and said, "This matter, you have to ask your own family. I can't do anything about it." Although he had already guessed it, now that he had confirmed it, Qin Jinhao didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Su Qingmei was his cousin. wasn't she his family? Chang Wei understood his feelings and comforted him. In fact, it's a small matter. It's good for young people to hone themselves. Qin Jianhao was speechless. At this moment, on the stage, the Fit Band had just finished performing a famous rap song. Qing Xiaodong sang and danced very hard. He easily stirred up the emotions of the audience. Waves of cheers came one after another, showing his talent and strength. The band's lead singer shook his hair and raised the electric guitar in his hand. He loudly said, "The next song is dedicated to the audience. It's called Transcendence. Let us surpass ourselves." As soon as his voice fell, the cheers from the audience suddenly increased by dozens of decibels. Ching ching. Several female fans excitedly squeezed out of the crowd and wanted to rush to the stage. However, they were stopped by the security guards. Qing Xiaodong put down the electric guitar and bowed his head. He arched his body and suddenly plucked the steel string. An intense prelude sounded. Transcendence. Qin Hanyang and Sister Na, who were sitting backstage, looked at each other and saw the surprise in each other's eyes. Transcendence was a classic rock song. It was very popular in the 1990s, but it was very difficult to sing it, especially the high notes. Many people sang it until they were out of breath, to the point where they could not sing it without dropping it. Qing Xiaodong actually dared to challenge Transcendence on stage. There was no doubt that he was very confident. The two couldn't help but worry for Lu Qin. His opponent was very strong. Chapter 38. Beyond light. Beyond electricity. Beyond everything. Qing Xiaodong's voice, accompanied by the passionate music, continued to fiercely impact the eardrums of everyone present. His voice was high-pitched and sharp, with a penetrating power that pierced through the clouds. The classic rock song, Beyond, had a different flavor to it, especially in the high-pitched parts. Whether it was the transition of breath or the handling of details, the lead singer of the Fit Band was able to control it with ease. If one didn't hear it with their own ears and see it with their own eyes, it would be hard to imagine that such a small body could have such a golden voice. There was no doubt that Qing Xiaodong's singing talent was unquestionable. The more than 2,000 audience members at the scene were excited by his singing. Regardless of whether they had glow sticks in their hands, everyone waved their arms and danced to the rhythm of the music, getting high. After listening to the first two parts, those who understood music understood that Qing Xiaodong didn't choose this rock song for no reason. He must have asked an expert to rearrange Beyond, making the song more suitable for his voice and singing skills. This was equivalent to taking a shortcut. However, this shortcut was very clever and pleasing to the audience. This could be seen from the reaction of the audience. The Fit Band was obviously a very creative and capable band, and Qing Xiaodong's strength was unexpected. There was a reason why they were so popular in the industry. However, the stronger the Fit Band was, the more pressure the Fit Band put on Lu Qin. This was something that many people in the audience were well aware of. For example, Su Qingmei, who was sitting in the VIP area on the top floor of the bar, had a gleam in her eyes. Qin Hanyang and Sister Na, who were backstage, were silent. Sister Na was secretly worried for Lu Qin, who was sitting in the corner. She was afraid that Lu Qin wouldn't be able to adapt to the climax of the Fit Band and Qing Xiaodong's performance. She was afraid that Lu Qin wouldn't be able to adapt to the climax of the Fit Band and Qing Xiaodong's performance. The same thing had happened many times in the music carnival. The competition between singers and bands was never a gentle one. On the other hand, Gan Lang, who was also backstage, sat steadily with a relaxed look on his face. He represented the North Needle Band, who would go on stage after Lu Qin. First of all, they avoided a direct collision with the Fit Band. Then, they had Lu Qin to pave the way for them. There was no reason for them to be suppressed. Most importantly, Gan Lang still had a trump card. The Fit Band performed Transcendence brilliantly and Qing Xiaodong sang it well. In the end, this was an old song from 20 years ago. It was a classic that everyone was familiar with. Of course, it was easy to resonate with people when they sang a cover of a classic, but people were used to thinking that it was only natural to sing well. They would not be surprised or moved, but would instead feel nostalgic. The North Needle Band's trump card was the two new songs that they had spent a lot of money to hire famous musicians to compose 2 months ago. Gan Lang and his band members had rehearsed them for a long time, and they were ready to amaze the world tonight. One of the songs had been sampled by industry insiders and was considered to be eligible for the top 100 songs of the year. This song would also be the cornerstone of the North Needle Band's joining Light Rain Media. Gan Lang was full of confidence. In contrast, on Whale TV, many fans of Lu Fei's live broadcast were not calm. Damn, this guy is that good? Transcendence is very difficult to sing, but he sang it well. Our Lu Fei is under pressure. The anchor is going to go on stage later? Yeah, the ranking has been announced. Our anchor is going to go on stage next. That's not going to be easy. The anchor's folk songs aren't suitable here, right? Why are all of you guys like this? We have to believe in Lu Fei. Come on, big. I remember the anchor saying that he was going to sing a new song. I hope the new song will be good. No matter what, I will support Lu Fei. The number of viewers in the live broadcast had reached more than 100,000. Among these viewers, there was no lack of people who were knowledgeable. They quickly saw the problem and voiced out their concerns. Others didn't know about it, but they also understood it under their reminders, so the whole rhythm was deviated. Originally, the excitement of Lu Chen going on stage quickly evolved into a repressed worry. No one wanted to see their favorite anchor being trampled under the feet of others. Even the fishball reward disappeared. Seeing such a situation, Li Feiyu, the host of the live broadcast, was so anxious that sweat appeared on his forehead. But before Lu Chen went on stage, he had no way to reverse the current situation. He could only encourage everyone to support Lu Chen over and over again and ask everyone to have confidence in Lu Chen. The effect was not big. System prompt: Call me Li Bai, Silver 3, presents the anchor with an aircraft carrier. System prompt: Call me Li Bai, Silver 3, presents the anchor with an aircraft carrier. System prompt: Call me Li Bai, Silver 3, presents the anchor with an aircraft carrier. At this time, 3 eye-catching system notifications popped up on the screen. 3 majestic aircraft carriers lined up and drove past the viewers in the live stream channel. They were so domineering that they could not be more domineering. The negative atmosphere in Lu Fei's live stream was instantly crushed into powder by the 3 aircraft carriers, disappearing into thin air. Long live Li Bai. The local tyrant is mighty. Out of habit, a barrage of shouts and howls of worship appeared on the screen. Most of the audience's attention was diverted, and not many people paid attention to the Fit Band's performance. Call me Li Bai, General Lu will win, Lu Jiajun will never give up. Never give up. The same barrage instantly occupied the entire screen. If people wanted to see the live broadcast clearly, they would have to cancel the barrage or put it at the top. Otherwise, it would just be a vast expanse of white. Never give up. This was Lu Jiajun's slogan. Today, Lu Jiajun's scale had expanded by more than 10 times. The original 5,000 members had already been filled and 2 new groups had been created. The army is out, not even a blade of grass will grow. Li Feiyu excitedly said, on behalf of Lu Fei, I thank Li Bai, Chief of Staff, and all the members of Lu Jiajun. I also believe that our Lu Fei will not lose to others. Lu Jiajun will never give up. He couldn't help but clench his fists as he looked at the big stage in front of him. De Chen, you must work hard. On the stage, Qing Xiaodong was using a high-pitched dolphin sound to end his performance. This ending was obviously added by Qing Xiaodong himself. He was showing off his voice and skills. Without any suspense, he pushed the audience's emotions to the peak. After 20 seconds of singing, he once again flung his wet hair and said coolly, "Thank you everyone. Tonight belongs to you. Let's continue." Yes. Countless people in the audience responded loudly as they cheered enthusiastically. Seeing the perfect effect, Qing Xiaodong smiled proudly as he held his electric guitar and slightly bowed to the audience. Then he turned around and left the stage. Ching Ching. Ching Ching, sing another song. Many female fans screamed with all their might, and some even burst into tears, as if they had lost their most beloved thing. After the Fit Band's performance ended, it was Lu Chen's turn to go on stage. Sister Na gave him a big hug. Good luck, we support you. Qin Hanyang also patted his shoulder. Sing well. Lu Chen nodded, then walked out of the backstage with his guitar and stepped onto the stairs leading to the stage. At this time, Qing Xiaodong came down with the members of the Fit Band. He held his head high as if he was a victorious king who had just received the worship of his subjects. He was in high spirits and insufferably arrogant. When he saw Lu Chen walking up the steps alone, the corners of his mouth hooked up to reveal a proud smile, and he stood still. Lu Chen stepped up 2 steps. Although he was still 2 steps behind Qing Xiaodong, he was already able to look at him. Noticing Qing Xiaodong's provocative and proud look, Lu Chen nodded and said, "Good singing." Qing Xiaodong disdainfully curled his lips and didn't have the slightest intention of giving up his position. Lu Chen smiled indifferently as he squeezed to the left side of Qing Xiaodong. He didn't try to compete with Qing Xiaodong. This kind of small trick had no effect on the current Lu Chen. As he walked up the stage, he heard the clear laughter of the Fit Band behind him. Lu Chen's expression didn't change as he walked steadily to the front of the microphone. Then he faced the audience of more than 2,000 people. You're tuning in to the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.